Okay, so if you've ever found yourself like locked in a debate, heart pounding, just determined to prove your point, maybe with your partner, a colleague, even online, and you felt that exhausting urge to win, well, this deep dive is definitely for you. Because what if letting go of that need? What if it isn't about losing at all? What if it's actually about gaining something, like peace, maybe wisdom, even real confidence?
Yeah, exactly. Today, we're going to dive deep into why we often feel this compulsion, really, to win every conversation. We'll explore the difference between uh, real ego surrender, just plain apathy, and that sort of quiet inner confidence. We're drawing on insights from psychology, modern thinkers, even ancient philosophy. And importantly, we'll give you some practical ways to actually use this stuff in your daily life.
You know that old question, right? Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy?
Mm.
I think most of us, at some point, we've definitely prioritized being right. And, well, we usually pay a price for it. That constant drive to win, it often just backfires, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It can really strain relationships, ramp up our stress, and honestly, just stop us from growing. So let's unpack why we get so caught up in it.
Right. So why do we fight so hard for that win? Well, a lot of the time, that compulsion, it comes straight from the ego. You can almost picture it like this little voice inside, screaming, don't look stupid, or you have to be right about this. That's often the ego, just like grabbing the wheel. It's desperately clinging to a sense of self-worth that's tied up in being correct. Psychologists see this all the time for many people. Being wrong feels like a genuine threat, like an attack on their identity or pride.
hmm And how much of that is just us versus something we learn? Are we sort of trained to need to win? Because I definitely remember school, you know, getting rewards for the right answers, for getting things right.
Hmm.
Does that cultural wiring kind of push us towards this winner takes all thing in conversations? Makes us feel like we always need to come out on top.
Oh, absolutely. We are conditioned that way, no doubt. And that mindset, it comes with a pretty hefty price tag. There's this author and therapist, Mel Schwartz, who basically calls damaging relationships just to win an argument. Well, he calls it insane.
Yeah.
He points out that when you have two egos battling, nobody's really listening, are they? They're just loading up their next comeback. So that victory, it feels pretty hollow, and it might cost you a friendship or really hurt someone you care about.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it goes beyond relationships, too.
hmm
An executive coach, Ken Norton, he highlights that needing to be right comes at a price. That price is learning and curiosity.
Uh,
When our ego takes charge, we get defensive, we start rejecting facts, we literally stop taking in new information. And here's the interesting part. If you are actually right about something, the truth usually doesn't need you to fight tooth and nail for it. It can stand on its own. But if you're wrong and you just refuse to see it, you completely miss that chance to learn something, to grow.
it's fascinating, isn't it? How often that deep urge to win is really tied to deeper stuff, like fear, insecurity, the fear of looking weak or being humiliated. There's a philosopher, Iskra Fileva, who calls it a misguided form of pride. She talks about this profound vulnerability behind the facade of invincibility in people who absolutely must win all the time. And the real kicker is constantly needing to be right often just makes other people see you as, well, unpleasantly stubborn. So you end up getting less respect, not more. It kind of backfires.
So if constantly trying to win is so damaging, what's the alternative? The powerful one. It's this idea of ego surrender, intentionally, consciously letting go of that need to be right or to dominate the conversation. And let's be clear, this isn't about humiliation or being passive like a doormat. It's an active choice you make for peace and for understanding.
Okay, so if the ego is pushing us towards these bad outcomes, how do we actually break free? It seems like a lot of older wisdom traditions have thought about this for ages. There's that classic Buddhist proverb, right? In a war of ego, the loser always wins, which sounds paradoxical, but think about it. By stepping back, by choosing not to engage in that ego fight, you actually gain something much better. Peace of mind, maybe some wisdom, better connections with people.
Precisely. When you consciously decide, you know what, I'm not going to fight about this little thing, you often feel this sense of relief, calmness, instead of that usual anxiety and anger. Detaching from needing to win, it literally creates space for peace within yourself. Your mind stops churning over those clever comebacks, you could have said, and it fosters humility, too. It makes you more able to actually hear what someone else is saying, to value empathy, maybe more than being technically correct.
And that ego surrender, it frees you from all that leftover negativity, right? The resentment that can just sit there after arguments. By just not getting into it in the first place, you're basically removing a source of bitterness from your life. That's real inner freedom, and it feels liberating.
Yeah, and this isn't just some ancient philosophical concept, it pops up in modern thinking too. There's this thing called the conscious leadership philosophy, for instance. They basically say that all drama in leadership and life is caused by the need to be right.
Hmm.
And they suggest that truly great leaders make a kind of radical shift. They let go of needing to be right and replace it with curiosity, with focusing on finding the truth together.
That reminds me of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, the Roman emperor. He had this amazing quote, something like, if someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. The harm is in persisting in self-deception. I mean, wow, that's such a powerful example of ego surrender, right? Valuing truth and peace way above personal pride.
And what's really key here is understanding that ego surrender is an active choice. It actually takes a lot of strength. Walking away from an ego battle isn't weakness. It's a clear sign of confidence, of inner security. Like one commentator put it, sometimes walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. You're choosing a different kind of victory, one that doesn't involve crushing someone else.
Okay, but I can imagine someone listening thinking, wait, ego surrender.
Yeah.
Like, does that just mean I become a pushover or like totally apathetic? That's a really important distinction to make, isn't it? Healthy detachment versus just not caring at all.
You're absolutely right to flag that. It's crucial. The core difference is this. With ego surrender, you still care. You care about the conversation, you care about the relationship, but you consciously choose not to let your pride run the show. There's humility in it, a recognition that, hey, we don't control everything. There's an acceptance of outcomes. The yoga teacher described it like that. It's a knowing choice born from wisdom. Apathy, though, that's totally different. That's when you genuinely couldn't care less about the conversation, the outcome, anything. It's more like numbness, maybe hopelessness, a kind of disconnection. And that can lead you to just check out of important discussions or even put up with being treated badly.
Ah, okay. So it's more about being selective then. It's not that you stop caring or never speak up. It's about choosing your battles, being intentional, like asking yourself, okay, is this debate really important right now? Is pushing to be right actually helpful here? Or is it just my ego flaring up?
Exactly that. Think about it. Maybe you choose to drop an issue, even though you know you're technically right, simply because you notice the other person is clearly having a terrible day. That's not apathy. That's an act of kindness. It's wise prioritization. So ego surrender is mindful. It's proactive. It leads to inner confidence and better relationships. Apathy, that just leads to disengagement, stagnation. Big difference.
This leads us right into what seems like the secret ingredient for being able to let go of winning,
Yeah.
which is, well, inner confidence. When you're genuinely secure in yourself, you just don't have that same desperate need for external validation for everyone to agree you're right all the time.
Right, but then what's the difference between real confidence and just ego? Because they can look similar sometimes. True confidence, generally, it's calmer, it's often humble, it gives you the ability to say things like, huh, I don't actually know, or, that's a really good point, or even, oops, I think I was mistaken about that, huh? And you can say those things without feeling like your whole self-worth just crumbled. That ability, that's a sign of real strength. Ego, on the other hand, tends to be loud, reactive. It operates out of self-interest, always seeking approval, needing validation, needing to be seen as right. As leadership author Sari Wakeman explains it, ego is super resistant to feedback. It just wants to protect itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. And psychologically, people who have a healthy level of self-esteem, they tend to be less combative, don't they? They don't automatically see disagreements as like personal attacks. In fact, sometimes that chronic need to argue can actually stem from deep down insecurity. So building your self-worth, it's kind of like filling your own cup, right? The more secure you feel inside, the less you feel that impulse to fight for external proof that you're okay.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is how inner confidence changes how you are in a conversation. If you're not desperately trying to win, you can stay more composed. You can actually focus on what's being said. You can genuinely acknowledge when the other person has a valid point, which, by the way, often earns you more respect, not less. Just saying something simple like, you could be right about that, can be incredibly disarming. It totally changes the dynamic.
And these ideas, they're not exactly new, are they? You see echoes in ancient philosophies, like Stoicism, Epictetus advising people to focus on their own reactions, not what others think. That builds a kind of quiet confidence. And Taoism, too, suggesting that the truly wise person has an inner strength that doesn't need splashy outward victories.
A really practical way to cultivate this inner confidence is to actively remind yourself. My fundamental worth isn't actually on the line in this discussion about, the best way to load the dishwasher or which route is faster. If a coworker challenges your idea, it doesn't automatically mean you're incompetent. If a friend remembers a story differently, it doesn't make you stupid. Really internalizing that helps you feel less triggered. You can start to rely on this inner feeling of, you know what, I'm okay even if I happen to be wrong this time.
And ultimately, that confidence shifts your focus, doesn't it? Away from just scoring points and towards actually finding solutions. A confident person is much more likely to ask, okay, how can we solve this problem together? Instead of, how can I demolish their argument? Hmm. That leads straight to collaboration instead of confrontation. And in that situation, everybody kind of wins, really.
Okay, so all these insights, they sound great in theory, right? But how do we actually do this day to day? Let's talk through some practical strategies, ways to help you let go of needing to win, but without just rolling over and becoming a pushover.
Right, the practical stuff. Okay, first one, pause and reflect before you jump in. I know I've had those moments where I feel that heat rise, that urge to just fire back. Pausing, even for a second, can change everything. So the moment you feel your temper going up or your ego getting pricked, just stop. Take a slow breath. Ask yourself honestly, is this argument really worth my peace? Check your motive. Are you about to speak to genuinely clarify something or just to score a point and win? If it's the latter, maybe, just maybe, let it
Sure.
go.
Good one. Then number two, practice active listening, like really listening. A big reason conversations blow up is because we stop listening properly. We're too busy in our heads crafting our brilliant counterargument. So make an effort to truly understand the other person's perspective before you launch into yours. A great little technique is to paraphrase what they said back to them. So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying, it shows respect, it diffuses those ego battles, and honestly, it makes them more likely to actually listen to you in return.
Mm-hmm. And number three, ask yourself what outcome truly matters most here. Because winning the argument isn't always the same thing as solving the actual problem, is it? Think about it. Do I want to be right now, or do I want us to actually stay on good terms? Prioritize the relationship or mutual respect, or maybe just your own happiness. That perspective can really help you let go of minor points, or look for a middle ground instead of just ramming your view home.
Yeah, that's crucial. Number four, try using humility phrases. Sprinkle them into your conversation. Things like, I might be wrong about this, but here's what I think. Or, that's a good point. Or maybe, okay, let's see what we can both learn from this.
Hmm,
These little phrases signal openness. They invite a less defensive response from the other person, keep your own ego in check a bit, and just make the whole conversation more productive.
I like that. Number five, choose peace over drama. I love this idea. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response. Or just a smile, maybe a little shrug or a calm, you could be right, and then just move on.
Yeah.
That's not weakness. That's strategic self-control. You're just letting the fire die out before it even catches hold.
Definitely. Number six, actively build your confidence muscle. This is ongoing work on your self-esteem, maybe through positive self-talk, learning to validate yourself instead of always needing it from others, mindfulness, maybe journaling. The more genuinely secure you feel inside, the less you'll need that external proof of your worth that comes from being right all the time. You'll just start to realize that disagreements don't actually diminish you.
Yeah, that's foundational. Number seven, before you dive headfirst into a fierce argument, just quickly recall the cost of past ego wins. Think back. When you won those arguments before, did it actually make your relationships better? Did it bring you lasting peace of mind? Often the answer is no, right? It might have even made things worse. It can totally undermine your goal of being seen positively if you're constantly battling. Remember, refusing to ever admit you might be wrong can make others see you as, well, unpleasant and probably wrong anyway for being so stubborn.
So true. And finally, number eight, embrace the win-win mindset. Redefine what winning even means in a conversation. Maybe the real win is achieving mutual understanding. Maybe it's preserving respect, even if you disagree. Maybe it's learning something new. Or maybe it's just keeping your own cool under pressure. Aim for a situation where both people feel like they came out okay or better. Focus on resolution or connection rather than just a personal victory scoreboard.
So, wrapping this up, letting go of that constant need to win every single conversation. It's actually profoundly liberating. It's definitely not about becoming silent or never voicing your opinions. It's about doing it selectively, wisely, without that driving compulsion to dominate every exchange.
And in doing that, you cultivate something really valuable, that inner confidence, that quiet strength that other people actually notice and respect much more. It really is true. It's often the stronger person, the one with less ego, who can gracefully walk out of an argument, rather than needing to charge into every single one.
Yeah. In the vast majority of our conversations, what truly matters isn't deciding who won and who lost. It's about understanding each other, maintaining goodwill. Life's really about relationships, isn't it? And opportunities to learn. It's not some kind of debate club where we're just racking up points.
So here's a final thought for you to take away. The next time you feel that itch, that urge to deliver that absolutely crushing final argument, the one that will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are right, just pause, take a step back, maybe smile to yourself, take a breath, and perhaps just say, inwardly or outwardly, you know what? It's okay if I don't win this one.
You might just be surprised at how surprisingly sweet that kind of surrender can feel, because that is the kind of win that really counts.